हरे कृष्ण। जय राधा माधव, जय कुंज बिहारी। जय राधा माधव, जय कुंज बिहारी। राधा बिहारी। गोपी जना वल्लभ, जय गिरिवर धारी, जय गिरिवर धारी। जय यशोदानंदन, जय ब्रज जन रंजन, जय ब्रज जन रंजन। जय यमुना तीरा वनचारी, जय कुंज बिहारी। जय राधा माधव, जय कुंज बिहारी। जय राधा माधव, जय कुंज बिहारी। गोपी जनवल्लभ, जय गिरिवर धारी, जय गिरिवर धारी। जय यशोदानंदन, जय ब्रज जन रंजन, जय ब्रज जन रंजन। जय यमुना तीरा वनचारी, जय कुंज बिहारी। जय राधा माधव, जय कुंज बिहारी। जय राधा माधव, बिहारी जय राधा माधव जय कुंज बिहारी जय ओम विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिव्राजकाचार्य अष्टोत्तर शत श्री श्रीमती डिवाइन ग्रेस अभय चरणारविंद भक्ति वेदांत स्वामीशील प्रभुपाद की ISKCON संस्थापकाचार्य विपरीत संस्थापकाचार्य हिज डिवाइन ग्रेस श्रील प्रभुपाद की निताई गौर प्रेमानंदे ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवत महापुराण की ऑल ग्लोरीज टू असेंबल डिवोटीज ऑल ग्लोरीज टू असेंबल डिवोटीज ऑल ग्लोरीज टू असेंबल all glories to Sri Guru and Sri Gauranga. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam namaskrityam naram chaiva narottamam devim saraswatim vyasam tato jayamudiraye नष्ट प्रायेषु भद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवती उत्तम श्लोके भक्तिर्भवती नैष्टिकी कृष्णाय वासुदेवाय देवकी नंदनाय च नंदगोपकुमाराय गोविन्दाय नमो नमः। ओम अज्ञानतिमिरन्दस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। नमो विष्णुपदाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामीनिति नामिने। नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषा शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे। नमो महावदन्याय कृष्ण प्रेम प्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्ण चैतन्य नामने गौरत्विषे नमः। हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधो दीनबंधो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमोस्तुते। तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम हरे हरे। Hare Krishna. Would like to welcome you all. So we are reading from Canto 1, Chapter 15 entitled The Pandavas retired timely. Text number 9. Kindly repeat after me. Yattejasa nripashirongri mahan makhartham आयोर्नुजस्तव गजायुत सत्ववीर्यः तेनार्ता प्रमथनाथमखाय भूपा यन्मोचितास्तदनयन बलिमद्वरेते यत्तेजसा नृपशिरोङ्घ्रि महन्मखार्तम् आयोर्नुजस्तव गजायुत सत्ववीर्यः तेनारताः प्रमथनाथमखाय भूपा यन्मोचितास्तदनयन बलिमद्वरेते यत्तेजसा नृपशिरोङ्घ्रि अहन्मखार्तम् आयोर्नुजस्तव गजायुत सत्ववीर्यः तेनार्ता प्रमथनाथमखाय भूपा यन्मोचितास्तदनयन बलिमद्वरेते यन्मोचितास्तदनयन बलिमद्वरेते Mataji's word to word translation, kind of repeat after me. Yat, whose, tejasa, by influence, nripa shira angrim, one whose feet are adored by the heads of kings, ahan, killed, makhartham, for the sacrifice, aryah, respectable, anujah, younger brother, tava, your, gajayuta, 10,000 elephants, satvaviryah, powerful existence, tena, by him, ahrita, collected, pramatnatha, the lord of the ghosts, mahabhairav, makhaya, for sacrifice, bhupaha, kings, yat mochitaha, by whom they were released, Tannanayan, all of them brought, Balim, taxes, Advare, presented, Te, your. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Translation: your respectable younger brother who possesses the strength of 10,000 elephants, killed by his grace Jarasandha, whose feet were worshipped by many kings. These kings had been brought for sacrifice in Jarasandha's Mahabhairava Yagya, but they were thus released. Later, they paid tribute to your majesty. Purport: Jarasandha was a very powerful king of Magadha, and the history of his birth and activities is also very interesting. His father, King Brihadratha, who was also a very prosperous and powerful king of Magadha, but he had no son. Although he married two daughters of the king of Kashi, being disappointed in not getting a son from either of the two queens, the king, along with his wives, left home to live in the forest for austerities. But in the forest, he was benedicted by one great rishi to have a son, and he gave him one mango to be eaten by the queens. The queens did so and were very soon pregnant. The king was very happy to see the queens bearing children, but when the ripe time approached, the queens delivered one child in two parts, one from each of the queen's wombs. The two parts were thrown in the forest, where a great she demon used to live, and she was glad to have some delicate flesh and blood from the newly born child. Out of curiosity, she joined the two parts, and the child became complete and regained life. The she demon was known as Jara, and being compassionate on the childless king, she went to the king and presented him with the nice child. The king was very pleased with the she demon and wanted to reward her according to her desire. The she demon expressed her desire that the child be named after her, and thus the child was surnamed Jarasandha, or one who was joined by Jara. The she demon, in fact, this Jarasandha, was born as one of the parts and parcels of the demon Viprachitti, the saint by whose benedictions the queens bore the child was called Chandra Kaushika, who foretold of the child before his father Brihadrat. Since Jarasandha possessed demoniac qualities from birth, naturally he became a great devotee of Lord Shiva, the Lord of all ghostly and demoniac men. Ravana was a great devotee of Shiva, and so also Jarasandha. He used to sacrifice all arrested kings before Lord Mahabhairav, Shiva. And by his military power, he defeated many small kings and arrested them to butcher before Mahabhairav. There are many devotees of Lord Mahabhairav or Kala Bhairav in the province of Bihar, formerly called Magadha. Jarasandha was a relative of Kamsa, the maternal uncle of Krishna, and therefore, after Kamsa's death, King Jarasandha became a great enemy of Krishna, and there were many fights between Jarasandha and Krishna. Lord Krishna wanted to kill him, but he also wanted that those who served as military men for Jarasandha might not be killed. Therefore, a plan was adopted to kill him. Krishna, Bhima, and Arjuna together went to Jarasandha in the dress of poor Brahmanas and begged charity from King Jarasandha. Jarasandha never refused charity to any Brahmana, and he performed many sacrifices also. Yet, he was not on par with devotional service. Lord Krishna, Bhima, and Arjuna asked Jarasandha for the facility of fighting him, and it was settled that Jarasandha would fight with Bhima only. So all of them were both guests and combatants of Jarasandha, and Bhima and Jarasandha fought every day for several days. Bhima became disappointed, but Krishna gave him hints about Jarasandha's being joined together as an infant. And thus Bhima dissected him again and so killed him. All the kings who were detained in the concentration camp to be killed before Mahabhairav were thus released by Bhima. Feeling thus obliged to the Pandavas, they paid tribute to the king Yudhishthira. Mukam karoti vachalam pangum langayate girim Odinatarinam Sri Chaitanya Ishwaram Paramananda Madhavam Asaduna Sadutadain Atinicho Chatakara Hanamum Cha Kadachin Premnamat Kantavyaspuram. Hare Krishna. So I seek blessings from all the assembled Vaishnavas so that I can speak on this exalted subject matter of Srimad Bhagavatam and this particular section where Arjuna is experiencing separation from Krishna. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu spoke about those devotees, those people who developed taste in hearing Krishna Katha. Krishna Kathaye ruchi tomar bada bhagyavan, yar Krishna Kathaye ruchi sei bhagyavan. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu told Pradyumna Mishra that Krishna Kathaye ruchi tomar bada bhagyavan. You are very fortunate. Why? Not because you have received opulences of this world. What have you received? You have developed taste for Krishna's katha, Krishna's pastime, to hear Krishna's glories. And therefore, you are very fortunate. Krishna katha ruchi tomar bada bhagyavan. And yar Krishna katha ruchi, not only you, anyone who develops this taste for hearing Krishna katha, that person is also bhagyavan. That person is also very fortunate. So this is what the estimation of the Lord about fortune. And what is our estimation of fortune? When we get something desired objects or desire opulences in this world, then we consider ourselves fortunate. And those who have taste for Krishna Katha, chanting for spiritual life, we think they are useless or unfortunate people. Many times people say, "Arey, what unfortunate situation? You don't even do all other things, material activities." But Lord Chaitanya is saying that one who has developed taste for hearing Krishna Katha, that person is the most fortunate one. Dharma swanishtita pumsa vishwaksena kathasuyah na utpadad yadiratim shrama eva hi kevalam. Shrama eva hi kevalam. All other activities, those who do not invoke or develop taste for hearing, those activities are only shrama eva hi kevalam. They are only laborious work. So, the most important aspect of life of a devotee or anyone is to develop taste for hearing and chanting the holy name, the pastimes, Nama Rupa Guna Leela of the Lord. And here we can see that Arjuna is talking about Krishna. Is remembering all those activities, all those experiences, what he had with Krishna. So in life, there are two types of people whom we remember. The first type are those who are pain givers. Those people who had given you intense pain, those people you remember. And another type of people are those who are joy givers. You remember those who has given you happiness, and you always want to remember them. So when you remember the pain givers, you experience disgust in your heart. You don't want to think about them, and you don't want to talk about them. And you become happy when they leave or disappear. But those who have given joy, the joy givers, you want to remember them again and again, and you want to talk about them on and on and on. Just go on talking about them. And when they disappear, you experience pain. When you are with them, you experience unlimited joy. But when they disappear or they leave you, that time you experience pain. We can see Prabhupada's disciples, whenever they are asked to speak, they will talk about Prabhupada, and they will go on talking about him hours and hours together. Because they have experienced joy in their life in the association of Prabhupada. That is the glory of pure devotee. That is the glory of such personalities. And devotee of the Lord means one who gives joy. Anyone who comes in contact with them. And here, those who have received Krishna's association, what to speak about that? One who is a condensed love, the condensed happiness is experienced in his association. And now, all these Pandavas, they are experiencing separation from Krishna. And similar episode we interact or come across when Vidurji meets Uddhava. And Vidurji also asked about Krishna, about Dwarkavasis and all the associates of the Lord. And immediately Uddhava goes in a trance, remembering all those experiences, all those interactions he had with Krishna. So this is the nature of a devotee. Interesting thing is here that when Vidurji was going through such an intense pain, he was insulted, he was thrown out of the palace, out of the kingdom. He was not morose. He was not dejected. But at the same time, that dejection and those apparent calamities he dealt with by remembering Krishna. If he would have been dejected, he would have been he would be thinking about his problem. When he met Uddhava, first thing he asked about Krishna. And when we are going through some problem, difficulties in our life, when we meet any superior, so first thing comes out of our mouth is about our problem. Because we are so much tormented with that problem. But here, Vidurji, when he went through that calamity of throwing out of the kingdom, whom he served so loyally throughout his life, but Duryodhana and party, they did not respect that loyalty, threw him out, and he did not mind much because he understood the workings of, in one of the purport, Prabhupada writes in that third canto, that Vidurji could see the workings of Mahamaya and Yogamaya, the two energies of Krishna. Mahamaya working for Duryodhana, bringing his destruction closer. And Yogamaya's working, giving Vidurji the right direction to get detached and get attached to Krishna. Get detached from this world and attached to Krishna. And he accepted that happily. So here also we see that those who have experienced Krishna's association, Krishna pada padma gandha yei jana pai, Brahma loka adi sukha tare nahi bhai. Those who have experienced Krishna in their life, this is what happens. Brahmaloka adi sukha tare nahi bhai. Any enjoyment, even of that Brahmaloka, is offered to that person. Any kind of opulences offered to that person, he does not feel interested. Tara nahi bhai. He does not get attracted. That is the test. That whether we are still attracted to the material enjoyment or we are not interested in that. Krishna pada padma gandha, ye jana paye. पारिजातेन अंजसा लब्धे सारंगो अन्येन सेवते तद अंग्रिमूलमासाद्य साक्षात किम किम वृणीमहि. All the prachetas, when they see Lord in front of their eyes, manifested himself, they pray to the Lord, Lord, those who have tasted the honey of Parijata flower. Parijata is a heavenly flower. There are many flowers available. But when a bumblebee, a honeybee, reaches to Parijata flower, and when he tastes that honey of Parijat flower, he doesn't want to leave that. He doesn't aspire for any other thing. Parijatena anjasa labdhe, anyena sevate. He doesn't want to go anywhere else. Similarly, those devotees who experience joy of Krishna in their life, tad angri moolam asadya, sakshat kim kim branivahi. What else can attract him in this world? He will not get attracted to any other things. And that is what we see in devotee's life. Where does Lord stay? This question is always asked. So, Chaitanya Charitamrita gives answer to this question. Bhakta chitte bhakta grahe sadavasthan, kabhu gupta kabhu vyakta swatantra bhagavan. So, where does Lord stay? Is two places. Bhakta chitte and bhakta grahe. In two places Lord stay, where in the mind and thoughts. In the heart of the devotee, Lord stays. And grahe, bhakta grahe, in the homes of the devotees. Sada avasthan, always residing. Kabhu gupta, kabhu vyakta. Sometimes he appears and sometimes he disappears. Because he is Swatantra Bhagavan. He is independent. And that is the glory. So now, here Arjuna is experiencing separation from Krishna. For some time, he was Vyakta. Krishna was staying in Hastinapur, in Indraprasth. And all the sages were coming to that place. Naraji glorifies all the Pandavas that your palace, your place is so opulent, so purified, that all the sages who are trying to purify their hearts in the forests, in Vanas, in Himalayas, they visit your palace in order to get purified. Why? Because Lord Krishna, Param Brahma, stays in your palace. So Bhakta Grahe, he stayed in their houses. And now he disappeared. Vyakta. Gupta now. Earlier he was Vyakta. Everyone could see physically. And now he is Gupta. He disappeared. Now where he is staying? Chitte. Bhakta Chitte. And that is what we see. Arjuna is remembering all those past times, all those interactions, all these brothers and their mother had. So this is the heart of a devotee. And this is his actions. Through his actions, he wants to remember Krishna. And in this section, what we see, all those incidents, all those actions, Pandavas had, interactions with Krishna, are remembered. So this particular shloka is dealing with episode of Jarasandha. So one time, Uddhavji and Krishna, means in Yadava assembly, a very distressed messenger came, carrying the message of all the imprisoned kings. Those kings were imprisoned by Jarasandha. And he wanted to offer them as a sacrifice to Mahabhairav or Kala Bhairav, as Prabhupada writes. And there, what we see that when the messengers, means all these kings were praying to the Lord in their distress condition. And this is very painful, because by nature, Kshatriya are free. They control. That is what the Kshatriya nature is. But when you are imprisoned, those who are controller, they experience more pain. So it is not the severity of the punishment, but it is about how much expectation you have about certain things in life. That gives you more pain. For example, now here these kings, the princess and the prince and the kings, they were imprisoned. Who are supposed to rule, they are behind the bars. Means helpless condition. They have been controlled. And therefore their pain is so intense, they could not bear those pain. So as I was giving you example, that is the pain or frustration we experience about anything in a reciprocation with the expectation we have. So frustration is a function of expectation. So more expectation we have from anything, and if it is unfulfilled, so the more frustration we experience. So here, their pain was so intense. Just like if someone is having fracture, or someone falls down and have fracture in his leg or hands. So there is a pain, of course. And there might be some little bit expectation where may not be get fulfilled. You might have some assignment to do or something, some work to be done. That might not get fulfilled, and you feel frustrated at why this has happened to me. There is a pain, physical pain, and there is a little bit mental pain. But what if tomorrow you have an Olympic match and you are supposed to be winner and you get fracture? That pain is not only physical, but mental pain has increased unlimitedly. And therefore, the frustration experienced in that situation is much more intense. Fracture, both the people have got. Ordinary person and an athlete also have got. But the experience of pain is different for both of the people. So here, when kings were imprisoned, they were experiencing unlimited pains. And one thing happened to them was they remembered Krishna. And they sent message to him. Now, Uddhavji advised Krishna that now Yudhishthir Maharaj is going to perform Rajasuya Yajna. So we can remove this thorn during his Rajasuya Yajna conquest. And Krishna, following Uddhavji's advice, he goes to Indraprasth. And there, he makes Yudhishthira understand that to perform this Rasvi Yagya. And Yudhishthira also wanted to perform Rasvi Yagya to coronate Krishna as the Supreme Personality, as the greatest personality. So that was his intention. So then they decided that three of them, Bhima, Arjuna, and Krishna, would go to the Magadha as a Brahmana and disguised as a Brahmana and beg Jarasandha to fight, to have a duel combat. So here, most of the time, Krishna and Arjuna would go for any trip or any assignment to be complete. But this time, they took along with them Bhima. So in Gopal Champu, Jiva Goswami writes why Arjuna was so favorite of Krishna. He would always go with Arjuna. Because Krishna loved Vrindavan and Vrindavan Vasis intensely. He has his heart given to Vrindavan, all Vrindavan Vasis. So anyone who reminds him of Vrindavan, that person becomes very dear to him. So Arjuna always reminded Krishna of Vrindavan. Because in Vrindavan, Krishna had one Gopa friend, one of the Ashtasakhas. One of the Gopa is Arjun Gopa. So Krishna would be always reminded of Vrindavan whenever he is in the company of Arjuna. So therefore, of course, Arjuna also had a devotion. It's not that everyone who has the name of Arjuna, Krishna becomes dear to him. But Jiva Goswami writes from the Vrindavan perspective about Krishna's love. So this time he took Bhima along with him. And when they reached Jarasandha's palace, Jarasandha's arena, so they disguised as Brahmanas, but they had a colorful clothes. So Jarasandha was confused that they are Brahmanas, but how come they have a colorful clothes? Because Brahmana is supposed to have a austere clothes. Similarly, in Ramayana also we see that when Ram and Lakshman, they were going into the forest, they came close to Pampa Sarovar. Sugriva and all the Vanaras, when they saw, they look like Kshatriya, but they are appearing like Vanvasis, forest dwellers. So they were carrying bow and arrows. So appearance, your clothes, they also speaks a lot about you. So Jarasandha was confused that who are they? But still, they were pretending as a Brahmana. So he asked, what do you expect? So there was a good conversation between both of them, Krishna and Pandavas, Bhima and Arjuna, and Jarasandha. And they asked alms from Jarasandha. So what that alms was, that you should fight one amongst us. And then they reveal their identity also. That he is Arjuna, I am Krishna, and he is Bhima. So you choose one amongst us. So Jarasandha was also very interesting. He says that actually Arjuna is not that powerful in strength. So I cannot pick him up. And Krishna, you are coward because you ran away from the battle. So you are also not eligible to fight with me. Now, interesting thing in this shloka is that Now Arjuna is reminding Yudhishthir Maharaj, because of Krishna's grace, you were able to perform your Rasuya Yagya. And Bhima's strength of 10,000 elephants were useless, because it was Krishna's mercy and Krishna's grace that strength was useful. That was the whole chapter all about. He's reminding and remembering that how Krishna's mercy and Krishna's grace made us accomplish what we are. And what Jarasandha is seeing, Krishna as incompetent fellow, coward fellow. So this is how a devotee's vision and demon's vision. Devotee will always see Krishna's hand in his accomplishment. And demon always try to reject that sanction, the higher sanction, that Krishna's sanction in his life. So he chose Bhima and the fight started. Both the opponents fought for several days, as Prabhupada writes here. And both were getting exhausted. At one point of time, Bhima surrendered to Krishna. He said, and when we are failing in our endeavors, so only shelter is Krishna. So Bhima approached Krishna. What is the solution? And that time Krishna revealed that so all those secrets which were crucial to kill opponents were revealed by Krishna. Otherwise, there were no chances for Pandavas unless those clues were there with them. The same episode happened when Jayadratha was about to get killed. Arjuna was thinking that he will shoot his head and that is done. But Krishna said, no. There is one more condition to it. Don't make his head fall down on the ground. Otherwise, your head will split into 1,000. So that crucial secret, which could have been disaster for Pandavas, were revealed by Krishna. Similarly, when Narayanastra was thrown, no one knew how to counteract it. Only Krishna knew. Krishna told all the Pandavas and the Pandava soldiers what to do. Just bow down. But Bhima got up and started fighting with that Narayanastra. So the nature of Narayanastra is that if you resist, he will attack more. He will persist with the double vigor. So Krishna and Arjuna had to run and make Bhima bow down. Forcibly they made Bhima bow down, because Kshatriya, he has a Kshatriya spirit, never to bow down. But Lord said, now bow down. And he happily accepted. Yes, now Krishna is saying. So all those clues, crucial clues, Krishna gave them. And therefore, here in this episode also now, Bhima was asking, now I'm exhausted. I can't go anymore now. And then Krishna revealed that what to be done. Just part him into two. Dissection, as Prabhupada writes here. Dissect him and throw his body parts in different direction, opposite direction. So Krishna is always having this thought in his mind of protection of the devotee. And devotee also has a thought of protecting Krishna. Because devotee protects Krishna's interest or Krishna, and that is how Krishna reciprocates by protecting devotee and his desires. And that is what here we see. Even in Vrindavan, we see that how Mother Yashoda and all the gopis, they wanted to protect Krishna. Their constant anxiety was how to protect Krishna when Krishna was in presence. And what was Arjuna's and Pandava's desire? To protect Krishna's desire. In Vrindavan, Mother Yashoda and all other gopis and gopas, their desire was to protect Krishna from all the calamities coming. Although they were enjoying, but constant anxiety was there. In 8th chapter of 10th canto, beautifully explained about this devotee's nature. Kim Swapna, sorry. Yarhi angana darshanaya kumar lila antarvraje tad abala pragrihita puchhe vatseritas tad avavanu krishyamano prekshanta ujjita griha jahurisya hasantyaha. Within the house of Nanda Maharaj, the cowherd ladies would enjoy seeing the pastimes of babies Ram and Krishna. The babies would catch the ends of the calves' tails, and the calves would drag them here and there. When the ladies saw these pastimes, they certainly stopped their household activities and laughed and enjoyed the incidents. Okay, so they were enjoying this Kumara Leela, but the next shloka talks about interesting thing. Shringi Agnidam Striyasi Jala Dvijakanta Krida Paravati Chalo Sosvito Nishedum Guihani Kartumapi Yatrana Tajan Jajanyo Shekad Apaturamalam Manaso Navastam. What has been written here is that beautiful lines. When Mother Yashoda and Rohini were unable to protect the babies from calamities threatened by horned cows, by fire, by animals with claws and teeth such as monkeys, dogs and cats, and by thorns, swords and other weapons on the ground, they were always in anxiety. And their household engagements were disturbed. At that time, they were fully equipoised in the transcendental ecstasy known as the distress of material affection. For this was aroused within their minds. Beautiful translation. I'll read it again, this line. In their household engagements, they were disturbed. At that time, they were fully equipoised in the transcendental ecstasy. So when devotees are disturbed, even in their day-to-day activities, but they experience transcendental ecstasy. Why? Because they are engaged in protecting Krishna's interest, Krishna's desire. And that is what Prabhupada writes here, that in the spiritual world, there is anxiety, there is crying, and there are other feelings similar to those of the material world. But because the reality of these feelings is in the transcendental world, of which this world is only an imitation. So Mother Yashoda and Rohini, they enjoyed pastimes, but also they were anxious, distressed to protect Krishna. And this is what a devotee has in his life. He protects Krishna's interest. And what is Krishna's interest? That Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said that Jare dekho tare kaho Krishna upadesh. Amar agya hoi tare yehi desh. So deliver this world by preaching the sublime message of Krishna consciousness. You deliver your life and help others deliver their life. This is Krishna's interest. Arjuna and Pandavas, they protected Dharma by fighting against Kauravas. Although they did not want to fight. Arjuna did not want to fight. But he fought for the pleasure of Krishna. So in this way, devotees, they keep protecting Krishna's interest, and Krishna, if he is in presence, if he is Vyakta, he tries to protect him, and if he is Gupta, so he tries to protect his interest. So this is the life of a devotee. And here, that life is represented and remembered by the Pandavas. I would like to stop here. Thank you all very much. Hare Krishna. If anyone has any question, any doubt, kindly feel free to ask. ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवत महापुराण की, श्रील प्रभुपाद की, निताई गौर प्रेमानंदे, हरि हरि बोल।